Hey friends, welcome to Now. I'm Jane if you don't know me, and if you do, then hey, what up? I'll be your spiritual guide in this now, so I hope that you enjoy what I'm about to share, and hopefully it lands with a wee bit of joy and inspiration. Or whatever, like however it lands, I just hope it lands with some grace. So, I hope y'all are doing okay. I feel like there's there's like a collective pressure that's happening. I don't know if everybody's feeling it, but I know a lot of people are feeling it. It's like this squeeze of like, what am I to do? How am I supposed to be? Who do I trust? What do I trust? All these things are coming up. Okay, so that's this pressure. Whenever we have pressure, so I see it like wringing out a towel, and when we wring out the towel, what we're trying to release is what we don't want to have in the towel anymore, which is water. So we're going through this squeeze, we're going through the squeeze cycle, the pressure zone. Pressure's on. So when that happens, whatever it is in us that we can grow in love in and with is going to be brought up to the surface so that we can see what that is and what that was. Right? This is the sacred ascension, y'all, that we're like collectively going through. Yay! So much fun. So what I'm noticing that I want to talk about, and I'm curious if you all are experiencing this, and if you are, or however you're experiencing this, like leave a comment because I am super curious your experience. So anyway, so what I'm noticing, something that's been coming up, right, with this pressure is fear, frustration, not enoughness. Yeah, okay, so those things. But what I want to talk about, the thing that's coming up is grief and a desire to purge. And if you've ever purged anything, whether you're going through your closets or your relationships or purging, whatever it is that you release, there is a natural grieving process for what once was. Now, I have been clearing through some of the things in my home, and I'm like, oh God, I remember when so and so gave this to me and it was so sweet. And oh my God, we were so close. I haven't seen them in so long. And so I have this emotional attachment to this thing. And this thing itself, I don't want. I don't want this thing. I don't. It's cute, but it's not my jam. But what I'm holding on to are these memories. So what I'm doing is, I'm releasing these things and selling it and whatever. But what's coming up is grief. And I noticed something the other day. I just want to share a brief story about a possum that I saw. I was out for a walk. It was like 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm on a phone call and I see a possum. And it was looking right at me and it was like 10 feet away. Now, if you've ever experienced a possum, they typically aren't out in the daylight. And two, if they are and they see you, they're peacing out. They're like, F you, human, like deuces, I'm out. This possum was looking right at me, and I was like, wow, like I feel this. I feel the spirit of this animal. And it turns to walk across the driveway to this neighbor house. And as it does that, I see that it's hobbling. It's super duper thin. It's got a bulge on its spine. Um, it was either like a tumor, it had like a leg that was like kind of like flopping. It looked really mangy, underweight. Um, it didn't look like it was going to live much longer. I'll say that. And it kind of worked its way to this neighbor house, walked around a little bit, um, and was just kind of slow and like going one direction, then like, no, I don't want to go there. I'm going to go here. And I was like, I think it's getting ready to die. I think it's actually finding its final resting place where it's going to transition. And I was like, damn, right? But I'm still on this phone call. So anyway, so I get home and I'm like doing my thing. I'm whatever, clients and da 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 da. So it was like days later and I'm on my mat, on my yoga mat, and I'm in practice, and the possum came up into my memory. And I was sitting with that. The image that I had of it, the experience that I had with it, the connection that I had. And I started to cry. And I was like, whoa, like what? Like, what is this? Like, I feel this. And it was grief, among other things. Part of the grief by allowing myself to sit in that space and let the tears flow and also witness the fact that yes, I'm crying over a possum that I saw a few days ago. I'm very aware, right? And in the awareness of yes, this is grief, I was also experiencing um, a sense of honor that I got to see the possum. Like, oh my God, like I got to see it. Like divine timing. I was in that place at that moment to see this creature that I would never have seen that close in the daylight. And then I felt really humbled that I got to see it on its what I feel to be its last journey home. I felt humbled that I got to see it in love, that I got to pour love and wonder and compassion to this spirit, this creature, this being of love, this high consciousness critter. And like wow, like I got to do that. And there was this just like I felt humbled. And so the part of the tears were that. Um, and so grief. What I'm also noticing during these times is this pressure is creating a purge, and it's creating a purge in our action steps as well. It's creating purges in the body. A lot of people are reaching out because I do cleanses and dry fasts and stuff with my clients. So people are reaching out. They're like, I'm ready to do another parasite cleanse, or I'm ready to do another cleanse. Like, I'm ready to get this. I feel something needs to come out. And I'm like, I got you. um, Purging old ways of being, old relationships, old thought patterns, all that shit. And what I am noticing is as people are purging, the underlying emotions are coming up because that's how we're ascending. To me, we're ascending by recognizing, acknowledging the emotions that have been unresolved, and we feel them and express them and let them process. And we do that with love and kindness and compassion. So we're still going to feel fucking sadness and grief and frustration and all that shit. And we are made to feel that with love and kindness and compassion and grace, right? Like that's, we're designed to alchemize through that energy field. So, and I'll tell you more about that in a second, about the energy field around that. So, something else that I was talking about with someone recently was the grief process. How, like, yo, in our culture, this it's stupid. In our culture, we are taught and conditioned to not fucking feel it. We don't allow time, space, and grace for anyone to feel grief. Even in a now moment, when someone starts fucking crying, what do? We're like, oh my God, are you okay? What can I get for you? Here, it's okay, it's okay, stop. Right? We do that with fucking kids. We're like, oh, you're crying. Here's a sucker. Stop crying. So we have been conditioned to like stifle the grief. Okay? On top of that, we're taught to go back to work, right? Because you got to be productive in our culture, right? In the program, in the matrix, you got to get to work. My last person that I was with, when his parent transitioned, he took 3 days off of work and then resented me for not being there for him in his grief process. I'm like, motherfucker, you didn't fucking grieve. Like, shut the fuck up. You know, I was with someone else that their parent transitioned when we were together. And although he took time off work, he was busy like doing like all the will and the burial and the funeral and the like he was like power of attorney. So like he didn't take the time and space for himself. And I see this all the time. All the time. So that when all of a sudden something happens, we are like flooded with grief and then we're like, I don't know what to do. And then people that are around us that are witnessing us in grief, they're like, I don't know what to do. Because our culture has completely denied death. Our culture is completely denied death. I get we're eternal beings, y'all, because we're fucking energy. You can't create or destroy us at all. And there's things die. We have not been taught to even acknowledge it, to talk about it, to welcome it, to surrender into it, how to be there for each other. We literally don't have it in the program, and we don't have many fucking templates. Because if you look at our ancestors and all different types of indigenous folks around the world, they celebrated life as much as they celebrated death, and they did it one and the same. We haven't been taught that shit. So now here we are during this fucking like, holy shit, photon galore, which is bringing up all the shit for us to purge. But if we don't allow ourselves or even know how to fucking purge grief and allow ourselves to be in the space of grief, then we will not be able to ascend, because grief is a part of the line, the spectrum, the energy fucking bandwidth field of joy. So every time we move through grief, we're going into joy, right? That's what the gift of grief is it's a pathway, it's a way to feel and experience so much joy and liberation and celebration for what is in the now. Grief can bring us into now, and if you've ever experienced fucking grief, you notice shit, because it's like somebody died and you're like, I don't give a shit about you work, I don't care about your drama, I'm not dealing with some bullshit phone call from somebody that's like, I'm just so pissed at my boyfriend about what the fuck ever. You don't even care, because you're like, it, like, y'all, like, life is temporary, like, as we know it. So you become really fucking present, and present is a gift. But it is. Being present is a gift. The gift of the awareness of the now creates a whole life experience of like a whole shit ton and series of nows in your life. All the pain too. So we collectively don't have the template for grief at all. So until we start allowing ourselves to feel grief for, I was talking about this today and it was so fucking brilliant, and I want to share this. So if we don't allow ourselves to feel grief in every beautiful way, then we won't be able to handle it in the big ways. For example, I could grieve today when I go to bed tonight. When I go to bed, I can literally allow myself to feel grief, sadness, um, and loss for the day that I just lived, that I'll never have this day again. I won't. I won't have the same interactions, the same conversations, the same bites of food and of the figs that I got to pick off the tree off the side of the road. Like, oh, I will never have this day again. And there is a sweet sadness to that. And if I allow myself to feel that, then I can also have a lot of gratitude for all of the little bits of things that I got to experience in this day. And that feeling of gratitude is a part of a baseline energy frequency field of the new earth consciousness. If I allow myself to feel the grief and the loss of today, then that means tomorrow I'm going to enjoy it more. I will be able to experience tomorrow in more presence and joy. I will lap every now moment up. I will sop it up like with a biscuit. I'll sop it up with a biscuit. I will take every moment for the gift that it is, and I will like luxuriate in it. I'll stretch it out. When I'm having a conversation with someone, I'm actually going to connect with them more and look them in the eyes and be like, fuck yeah, I get to have this conversation, because I know that this is temporary. If I deny myself grief, then I deny a higher frequency energy field that I could reside in a in a in a in a in a continuum. You know, like, we are frequencies. So we're oscillating, we're moving, we're ebbing, we're flowing, we're in and outing, right? We're up and down, we're positive and negative, we're light, we're dark, we're all of it. So if I ignore some of that negative or the darkness, then I'll never let it to process through me so I can be in the higher octaves. So the higher octaves can move to me and through me. This is what we're moving through. The awareness that grief is a thing, that we're allowed to feel it and experience it, that we are made to feel it and experience it, and that it's not to be marginalized or minimized. That minimizing grief, like I should be over this by now, or marginalizing my experience by like, why the fuck am I crying over a damn possum? Like, this is stupid, Jane. Like, why are you doing that? Right? But rather being like, oh my God. And then being able to be like, damn, girl, you love big. You love big. You love Earth and life a lot, Jane. Like, fuck yeah, high five. I love the love that you fucking have that you can feel that much grief over seeing a fucking possum. And then I can celebrate that, and just then I'm starting to cultivate more of that like life force prana, that energy within me that I talked about in my last video. It feels like sexual energy, it feels like creation energy, it feels like life force pumping and pulsing through us. It feels good. But if I'm going to deny the grief in the first place, then all of those other things that came with it won't be allowed. There's no room for it. There's no space. There's no tunnel for it to come flying in and flooding into me. What a huge disservice that is to me and then beyond me. Because everything that I think, say, and do not only is for me and affecting me, but we're all energy. We're all fucking connected. We're all one. So it's going to ripple from me for the ever and ever and ever. So it's like if I'm judging the grief, oh, not okay, yo. If I'm ignoring it, that's like ignoring love, ignoring possibility, potentiality. It's ignoring fucking life. We're here to live the life to the fullest, which is grief. And it's going to come at us in weirdo times because it's not linear. It's like when you're at the ocean and like one day it's like, damn, these waves are kicking. And other times you're like, hello, waves, what are you? And next thing you know, you're in, and all of a sudden you get smacked upside the head with a wave. Grief is like the waves. Like sometimes we can like coast on it and find the joy and the like, wow, this is some intense grief I'm feeling. Sometimes it takes us down and we choke on the water, right? Like it's yes. Sometimes we get choked up. But this is a part of the purge. The resistance. Resistance is a part of the purge, releasing resistance. The new earth frequency, there's no doubt, there's no shame, there's no guilt, and there's no judgment, and there's no resistance to love. So, I mean, we're still going to feel grief and sadness and all of these things, but they're not going to have these certain binding programs around the full expression and expanded nature of our highest expression of us. So I wanted to share that because it might be resonating with some of you. Like this is what's coming up for me, and I'm a part of the whole. So it's happening in the collective, especially when I get messages and like multiples. I'm like, okay, like there's something to this. It's beyond Jane, right? It's coming in threes. Okay, that's Jane, talk about this shit because it's going to affect others. So the invitation is to be with you. Reach out for support if you need it. If someone reaches out to you for support or you're with someone and they're experiencing grief, like don't try to be like, so something better is coming, and it's gonna be okay. I mean, like these are nice, and like maybe you can just like be with them and hold the space while they're having their experience and just remind them that like they're loved, you love them, ask them, you get consent, you want a hug, I don't know. And you can ask them if they need anything, but you know what I mean. Like don't try to um make them stop and deter them from their experience. It's We're made to feel it. Um, grief is a funny one. Grief is a funny one, and I feel that I don't know about y'all, but there have been a lot more deaths, a lot more psychotic episodes, mass psychosis episodes, psychosis, psychosis, processes. Anyway, mass psychosis, suicides, deaths, um, sudden adult death syndrome that just came about after some people started to get like, I don't know, injected with certain things. I don't know. So we might have a lot of opportunities to learn how to deal with grief, right? We stop denying that death is a part of life. It makes grief a lot easier. Then we can start to walk into death, and it just It's an easier process. So I can talk more about that in another now. But um, what I wanted to share also is so, I talk about like these energy fields and this quantum area that we're in, we work with, we're all one, and how we can like navigate through in these like spectrums of energy and how one is related to the other and all of that. If this information, if you're like, I mean, like, I get it, but I don't, or I want to know more about it, or like, how the fuck you know that shit, or like, how can I use that to like have a better life or be a more profound healer or a better friend to myself, to my lover, to my brother, to my mother, to my friends, whatever. Like, how can I use this knowledge of energy? So I have an online course. It'll be coming up in September 2022. Keep an eye on it because if you watch this way later, don't worry, like you're going to have more opportunities. But it's a 4-week course. The ones in September are going to be Monday nights at 6 to 8 Eastern Time. And you can click the link in my bio. It's on my website. You can do this course. It's online. And I'm going over the fundamentals of energy, basically. I'm talking like from the micro to the macro to consciousness to how tips, tricks, and tools on top of like a whole lot of like metaphysical and esoteric knowledge so that we can have like an awareness and ways to actually navigate energy. So like it's far beyond Reiki. These are the fundamentals. So I've been studying energy and the whole world of all of that um, since like the very early 2000s, if not late 90s. So I'm ready to share it. So I've been doing this. So if it's something you're grooving on, I would love to have you a part of the group. So that's it. So Fundamentals of Energy course. Sign up, take it, learn all the things, expand our consciousness together because I love questions. It was so fun. The last session of this I did, side note, people would ask questions, and because of the realms that I tap into, I was able to like, I can like download answers in the now. And so it's great when people ask questions because then I'm like, I'm receiving new downloads at the same time. Like I ask questions all the time and I'm like, oh fuck, that's cool. Oh shit. Oh God. But like if others ask me questions that I wouldn't have thought about, such a gift. I love it. Anyway, I wanted to share that. So I love you. I love you so much. I love you for being a human in this now, on this earth journey with me. I'm so grateful that we are like legit moving through like the most epic shift ever and that we're here to ascend, to connect with something bigger, to love, to kindness, to unity consciousness, to community. Like we're here to remember these divine human rights and to like release the things, the programs, the traumas and all of that shit. We're here to like release it and grow and flourish through it. It's a cool gig, y'all. So like what? Yeah, like I am go team human right now. We are some brave motherfuckers. We are brave souls to embody now and to remember now. God, they don't show this shit on the news, but like it's coming through like a flood. People are waking up and opening up and like showing up. So I appreciate you for showing up. And thank you for showing up in the way that only you can. The world is way more badass because you are you the way that you are. So thank you. Appreciation station. So, yep, that's it. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Um, click the link in the description box, leave comments. Yeah, that's it. I love you. Share this, subscribe, do all the things that like support an awakening community of love nuggets that are here to create the new earth. I mean, it's already here. Like we are the templates of the new earth, but like we're here to like do the things. Yeah, brave. Anyway, I love you. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you on another now. Okay, peace. Bye, y'all.